Oh, what's up, Reefers? It has been so long since I've done a live. Should I do horizontal or individual locked? Oh, you have to do vertical these days? Let me see. Okay, give me a second. Get that orange filter up. What is going on? I think this is my first live this year, possibly this year. I almost completely forget how to talk. Let's see here. Figure kids asleep, wife's asleep. We're about 3 o'clock. Sneak on here to maybe do a live update and just chat a little bit. What's going on, Jamie Reef Tank? This feels so weird. I'm so used to just kind of like filming and editing afterwards. So I remember back in the days, I used to just randomly pick up the phone and just go live on IG or YouTube. It's been a while. What is going on, Simon? Good evening. I guess you are maybe, is it Europe or Asia or something like that? I'm on the East Coast of America. It's 3 p.m. right now. And I think West Coast is a little bit behind us, so around noon. Hey, thank you. Yeah, this is one thing I struggle with because with I edited a video, I try to make it a little bit more concise. So I cannot really go in depth into any specific topic, any specific corals. I figure I'll just hop on here, give it a look. And also in terms of filming it, I try to also keep it more concise versus, like, for example, if I want to show you how big a clam is, I can actually go around a little bit like this. So you get a better look. And there's a little bit more interaction. It's a little bit different. I had to get used to going live again. Doesn't have a lot of chance to go live these days. As you guys all know, with like 2 kids, a little bit tougher. So I got a somewhat like a peaceful afternoon. I can sneak here and chat a little bit. Europe here, Netherlands, nice. AK Fishing, good to see you here. It's been a long time. Hope you've been well. But yeah, it's interesting because like these days, when it comes down to the aquarium, usually a lot of the fish kind of swim right up to greet me because usually that's the only time I have to see the fish tank, and I'll feed the fish, which I'll do in a little bit. And they kind of roam around here a little bit first. If they see that I'm not feeding anything, they just kind of go back and do whatever that they were doing. And this piece of nori is the piece that I put in yesterday. I think I did a whole full sheet of noris that you make sushi with. I just kind of fold it really tight, squish it in there so it'll last it more than a day for me. Ben, how is it going? Reef Builder, Europe to Ukraine. Look at these fish here. We got the Bengal Cardinals. I am debating if I should move these guys back to the mangrove tank because they are not really doing too much in the big tank here. They're just kind of hovering. They're just random. They're just randomly here. Versus in the mangrove tank, at least I see that they try to mate and then breed. I will see the male carry eggs, where I don't see the male carry eggs too much in here. Maybe there's too much activity in this tank that kind of disrupt the pattern. And the other thing that I mentioned was the Colorado sunburst anemone. I feel like with an anemone like this, kind of front and center is a prime location to showcase a pair of clownfish, which I have in the mangrove tank. So I'm thinking if I move the pair of clownfish down here, I could potentially move the pair of Bengal Cardinal back in the mangrove tank. And it may sound kind of crazy, like shuttling fish back and forth between the 2 tanks, but to me, I feel like I can catch most of the fish relatively easily. So that's why I'm like, okay, at a drop of a dime, like let's shuffle shuffle the fish a little bit and see how they do. Okay, let's see. Simon, you said that I love that black and white damsel. Do you have multiple, and what are they like? So I had 2. I lost one the next day. That's the thing with the fish here. Like a lot of fish, if I'm gonna lose them, I lose them a 2nd day or 3rd day, really quickly early on. But once they make it past about the first week or 2, usually they're bulletproof. This is called the Roland Damsels. They look kind of like the Talbot Damsels. Talbot is the one with the purple. You see where it's black right now? It's purple there and more like gold in the back. I've been trying to find one locally, have no luck. They used to be really popular here, but for whatever reason, they don't seem to import it here anymore. So I've been on the lookout. But this is the Roland Damsels. And the reason I added this is because, as you can see, I also have a Stockies damselfish. That's this guy. This guy is much larger. And we also have the Azure Damsels. I wanted to add more small fish to this tank to create that reef community. Like lots of little things going on, not just 1 to 2 big fish, kind of like the tang. I thought about maybe trying a purple tang again, or maybe do a white tail. But the thing with big fish is that it makes your whole scape look small. Let me step back a little bit. And also it kind of limits what you can have in the tank, as well as aggression, of course. So I figure a bunch of small fish may work well. However, it's kind of hit or miss because I did have 3 azure damsels. One disappeared after the second day as well. And these have been well established in the mangrove tank. They grew up, I wouldn't say grew up together. 2 of them grew up for a year together. I added a new one. So added these guys here. 1 disappeared within, I think, second or third day disappeared. And the other 2, one stayed up here, 1 stayed down there. But eventually, as you can see, 1 got kicked out to that corner. This guy actually lives behind the gyre. not to the side. He actually lives in that little crack right there. And at first I felt bad. I'm like, dude, should I move it to the mangrove tank or just rehome him to somebody else, a local reefer? But he seems to be happy there. Like his fats, it always comes out when I'm around. It goes after food. And that, even when that damsel fish is no longer really hassling it, it just kind of stay down there. It just becomes his home. It just kind of vroom, drop right back there. It's really strange. But that's a tangent. Basically, I'm trying to create a more like a community, more small fish. I wanted to do the threadfin cardinal fish. That's those little silver ones with blue eyes. Even though they don't look fantastic in and of itself by itself, but when you put like a small show of them together, maybe 7 of them, they look fantastic. But the problem is, of course, if I add something like that, now I need to remove some bioload, rehome potentially some Lateral amphias. I did not expect them to get that big. And the other issue is that with threadfin cardinals, they have a really poor shipping records, to the point where when I talk to my local reef store, Reef Escape, they don't really even bring them in as much anymore because of how poor they do shipping wise. They'll lose them pretty quickly. So that's kind of put a break on things. But at some point, I would love to try them. That's the threadfin cardinal, as well as there's also a red spot cardinal fish. They almost look like neon tetras. All silver with like a little red dot at the end. I thought those are fantastic as well. But same issue, shipping issue. They're terrible shippers from what I heard. So I never tried it. All right, let's catch up on chat real quick. Okay, Blue Champ said yellow tank, Picasso Doctor, Azure, Blue Damsels. Yes, like a yellow tang, Doctor Fish, I guess Surgeon Fish, Hippo Tang, and also Azure Damsel, exactly. Yeah, the lesser well-known one is this guy, Starkey's Damsel Fish. I see them on literature, I see them on website. I thought they look fantastic. Price tag is heavy. Damsel fish are used to maybe like $10, $15, right? Azure damsels, I think it's like $25. That's already kind of like, oh, that's really high for damsel fish. The Starkey's damsels, they goes for about $70 to $100 for damsel fish, which is almost unheard of. But this is just one of those fish that I'm like, oh man, I wish one day I could have it. And it just so happened that I think was it earlier this year, a local reefer wanted to rehome a Starkey's damsels that he has because it outgrew his tank and started becoming aggressive. And he has a smaller tank, I think it's like 35 gallon or 40 gallon. So I was like, okay, 110 gallon, no problem. I'm sure it's a small fish is gonna plug right in. So I was expecting the size to be like the Azure damsels, right? Like one of those guys, like this yay big. I went to his house, I look at the tank, I'm like, oh, this is big. It was maybe like 2/3 the size of how he is right now. It's a little bit larger, but since he already caught the fish and the price was good, I think he was selling it for like $50. I went ahead and got it. I just figured, okay, maybe because the local reefer's tank is a little bit smaller, so the fish look big. Once I go into the larger tank, I'm sure it's gonna look to scale, look like a smaller damsel fish. But nope, I put it in there. Fish is still really big, and it got even larger. So this damsel fish looks more like a flameback, African flameback angel, dwarf angel, than a damsel to me, which in some ways is fine. Like if I like that look, I'd rather have like a damsel fish that's completely reef safe than a dwarf angel that may nip at corals. Now I may change my mind once I start becoming more aggressive towards other fish, but so far so good. And that is one of the reasons I picked the the stock eyes damsels, the Roland damsels, as well as the azure damsels. They're supposed to be not as aggressive as the other damsel fish, like the dominoes, like the 3-4 stripes. Those are supposed to be terrors. All right, let me catch one chat real quick. Let's see. Firefish. Yes, I am kind of like a closet fan of firefish. The firefish goby. I do have a screen top. I would definitely not recommend firefish to somebody without a screen top because they seems to be really jumpy, right? They are also on a much more affordable scale, and I think it's still about $20 per fish. And they have such a unique look. So there's not like a standard fish look, right? The generic fish look. Firefish got that little thing going up top. I thought that's super cool. I think the jury's out on whether you can keep one or multiples. I've heard people usually they have a couple, they always just go down to one, or people say that they have success with like 6 of them, and they each have their own barrels. As long as they have their own barrel or little dart hole, they'll be okay. I never tried it. I think in the past I've tried 2 to 3, but they never really lasted long for me. But back then I also did not really know as much. So I feel like these days if I try it again, they may do well. But before I try firefish, I think there are other fish that I like to try. Kind of like the threadfin cardinal fish I mentioned before. I think I'd love to at some point. Just if I can get a good batch in, like 5 or 7 of them, I would love to maybe rehome 2 of the Lifetime Amphius. Look at these guys. They're getting a little bit big. And just sub in with like 5 to 7 of the threadfin cardinals. Swiss Ocean, love your Clam, thank you. This guy is my pride and joy. I try not to mess him too much. And I'm not sure if you guys actually can see the, can I zoom? Oh yeah, I can zoom in on the live. Yeah, those 2 baby Crucias. At first I'm kind of nervous because I've never had really good luck with Maximas and Crucias. But that's back then when, now that I know that, I do believe it was due to me dosing Vibrance to address the bubble algae. Especially now that I see what's in there. But these days, these guys put in there, they do well. Yeah, I've tried a couple clams in the past, and they just, for whatever reason, after a couple of weeks, they just randomly die. Nothing picks at it is the most random thing. I can only chalk it up to what I mentioned before. Let's see. Blue Jam said, I think I only take out FA, rock flower anemone, since they don't move around. I got you. I've never kept rock flower anemone for whatever reason. They just don't. I just don't find them appealing for whatever reason. It's not that they're not pretty. I don't know. I just don't know why. I guess they just kind of lay flat for me. It doesn't really do it. If I want something that lay flat, I'll much prefer like interesting mushroom or rhodectus. But hey, I mean, different stroke for different folks, right? And for me, this bubble tip anemone, I've been really lucky. It's just been staying put. And I just basically I find a rock with a lot of crevices because from my experience, I remember that bubble tip anemone, they like to dig their foot into something and then come downwards and then stick out open, right? They like to hang downwards, come down and open up. And so far it's been working. And I understand that if I feed it there, which I have not done, or if there's a pair of clownfish there, usually they'll kind of convince the anemone to stay put a little bit better as well. Versus sometimes if the area is seriously too really bad, they just kind of detach and just float away, roll away, or they'll slowly walk away. But I kept the rock, the little piece of rock, a little bit further away from the main structure, just so that it does not climb on there. Because I've had cases where it climb on there just wreak havoc. AK Fishing, do I still have this pistol shrimp? You know what? I have not seen him. However, I do hear that snap. I do still hear the snap up to this day, which is really weird. I don't think pistol shrimp live that long. It would be great if it does, but I still hear the little snap from that back corner. And I do not have mantis. I've never seen a mantis shrimp in my tank. So deep down, I hope that the candy cane pistol shrimp is still alive and well back in that back corner. Although I did rescape that whole corner, so I'm not sure. But that piece of big rock that used to sit there is now in the sump. So maybe it's in the sump. I don't know. But I do still hear snap around the corner. Simon said that some damsels to get huge, technically a Sergeant Major is also a Damsel. That is true. I've actually thought about adding maybe 2 or 3 small baby Sergeant Damsel in this tank until they get large, then I can rehome them. So I thought about them, and definitely true. There are some large one, just like I actually thought a domino damsel tank will be pretty interesting. Just one single domino damsel. I know they get ugly. They turn like a grayish color when they get a certain size, but just a fish like this. Or one tank I really want to set up is a kelp tank, which may not be possible. And with the red, I think it's called Garibaldi. Just like a orange or red, just one of those. I think that would look absolutely gorgeous. I remember in Hong Kong, Fish Street, one of the store actually has just one tank and just one Garibaldi, nothing else, just a bare tank. I think just holding it there for packing or whatnot, but it just left an impression. That's something that I would love to recreate. A kelp tank would be awesome. But as we all know, keeping kelp in one of these regular tanks I don't think it's possible because of how tall it gets. Show your mangrove. Dude, unfortunately, the mangrove tank is upstairs by the computer room, which is by the bedroom, and the kids and the wife is sleeping. So if I go there and start yapping, live streams will cut really short, really quick. So I think the next video I do is going to be on the mangrove tank because I owe you guys an update, and a lot has changed. Hey, look at the little troop of Black Mollies. I'm secretly kind of surprised that they all made it so far. Well, not all, because I kind of started out with 5, but it has been what, 4 months at this point. They have some roughed up tails, and one of them actually has some terrible infection in the last video. It's like some white fungus or something up top. I'm like, man, that guy's not gonna make it through the night. But next thing you know, they all came out scotch clean. So these guys are really resilient, and they go after food. Initially, I got them to pick at algae. They've never picked at algae. I've never seen them pick at algae because they're probably eating too well. This is all the stuff that I feed, and it seems to be adjusting quite well. I am kind of surprised I'm not seeing any babies because they are so prolific, but I don't know, just a matter of time at this point. And look at this. I haven't seen this guy in a month or 2. It was maybe 2/3 the size when I got it about 3 months ago from Petco. I saw it, I was like, oh, $20. Maybe it'll take down some bubble algae. I got one tiny one. I just drop it right in this area, and I just see him once in a while, but haven't seen him in a while. Awesome to see him here. Okay, let's see. Ignacio Arenas. I'm sorry if I terribly butchered your name. How is doing the new clownfish pair? Can you show us? Salute from Chile. How are you doing, man? Unfortunately, I cannot show you the other tank right now because that means I have to go upstairs and talk next to my sleeping wife. Never a good idea. But they are doing well. They've grown. I'll show you guys in the next video for sure. They look absolutely beautiful. The female's head. Somebody mentioned having a drop. I'm not sure if it's drop head or not, but it does have a kind of like a little bump. It's like the top fin is here, bump go down a little bit, and then they have a little bump right here, which is slightly odd, but I mean, it is what it is. So I was like, okay, I like that's fine. I'm good with the shape. But I'll show you guys. The pattern's absolutely beautiful. Color's beautiful. They're lively. They're doing well. I'm debating if I should add them here simply because the anemone is getting to be a good size, and I thought it would be really interesting to have a pair of clownfish in this tank again. I know in the past I said never again will I add a clownfish in this tank because they're just there, right? And I have a lot of orange fish already, but seeing the sea anemone, I am tempted once again. Emmanuel, are you sticking with the 2 little fishy salts? I am not, simply because the price went up. So this, I did 2 orders of 2 little fishies. First box, it was like 50 something. I was like, oh man, this is cheap. This is awesome salts. I used it. Fantastic results, no complaints at all. And then I got a second box, but by then the price went up. I think it was 80 something or 90 something for a box of 4 of these guys. That's one thing I really like about them, because they keep, I think each of these, do they make 50 gallon or something like that? But there's 4 little bags, right? So it's not one big bag of salt where things may separate during transit. So I like that. However, price went up. Maybe the first time I bought it, it was on sale, but I did not see it. However, price went up, so I went back to something else. There are different choices. There's like Red Sea, HW. I ended up getting Tropic Marin Pro. Whoa, okay. Live stream may be over. Leon, are you okay? Oh no, it's crying. Oh no. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. It was good while it lasted. I'll see you guys. Okay, yeah, let me get him. See ya.